We are live. Let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Olivia Lynn. How's it going today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's Monday, so, you know, I'm doing as good as I can. Right. So, excited to have you back. It's been, it's been at least over a year, I feel like, since we've had you on. So excited to have you back.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back. I'm so happy that I'm, back on track with songs and music and getting back out there with the podcast and stuff. And thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt kind of bad because you had messaged me, because we had a conversation at the beginning of the year. You were kind of filling me in on everything and what had been going on. And you were like, I'm getting ready to release music. And for whatever reason, I latched onto a bigger project that you said you were going to release in the summer. And then I got an email or something from you a month or so later talking about a single. And then in my head, I was just like, oh, that's part of this bigger project. So I'm not going to sweat it too much. And then I started to realize, I was like, no, we need to do this now. And so I don't know. It's been a weird 6 weeks of 2025 so far. My brain's been all over the place. So.
Oh, tell me about it. So is mine.
Fair. But first off, I do want to congratulate you. You're coming up on the final stretch of giving birth, and what's kind of running through your mind right now? You're releasing music, dealing with your personal family stuff, and building your own family. What's kind of running through your mind right now?
Honestly, what is running through my mind is how on earth am I gonna do music and be a mum at the same time? But with parents and support system that I've got, I'm sure I'll be fine. But like you said, I'm on the final stretch. I've literally got 2 weeks left, so fingers crossed she comes soon. And then we will talk about it coming up, but I've got some amazing projects coming up, and I just can't wait to dive right back into music again, really.
Right. And I think it's really smart that that you got music out before you gave birth, so you had something to kind of push and focus on, and not necessarily having to worry about I need to get more music out right away.
Yeah.
And even if you do, I'm sure it's already recorded and all that stuff. So it's just kind of you're kind of in a full promo mode over the next 3 to 6 months, kind of whatever it is. So,
yeah, pretty much.
So we had talked, last time we had talked was it mid 2023? Has it been over a year?
I'm pretty sure it has been. Talking about music anyway. Obviously, we check in with each other, but I think the last time we actually spoke about music was mid 2023.
Let's see. It was.
Or was it the end?
It was. I want to say it was probably I Saw Red. I feel like that was the song we had talked about.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
So, yeah, because that's the last one that I remember having a real conversation about. And then I don't remember why we wouldn't have done something for the single afterwards, but maybe it was just really close together. I don't remember, but.
Yeah, neither do I.
Fair. So what kind of inspired this new run of music? Obviously taking kind of over a year off is a big kind of change when you were releasing music consistently. What kind of inspired A, I guess, the break, and then B, when did you kind of decide, hey, I'm ready to start putting music out again?
So I actually parted ways with my management. So I was with management when I was last on Live and Amplified, and I split ways with my management at, I want to say mid, the end of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I decided I was kind of like I'm an RN. I didn't know what to do. You know, I'd never been a solo independent artist before. It's not something that I knew a lot about. I knew that others had done it, but I didn't know how to go about it. You know, I was feeling a little bit uninspired, kind of. So I'd seen a few adverts and a few promo things about going to Spain or Germany or a cruise ship to sing.
Mm.
And I was like, maybe I just do something like that, just to have a bit of fun, like not really for seriousness, but just to go out and do singing, which what I absolutely love, and get paid to do it. So I auditioned for I sent an audition over for a cruise ship, and I sent an audition over for a job in Spain to sing out
Hmm.
there. And yeah, I chose the one in Spain, and I just thought, "Do you know, what? I'm just gonna go out, have some fun, and yeah, went out there in April, met my partner who I'm with now, and then obviously I ended up falling pregnant and was still performing whilst pregnant, was still doing my acts. So I did tribute acts. So I did like Miley Cyrus, I did Becky Hill, Little Mix, things like that.
Hmm.
And then I was like, I'm ready to come home, and I really wanna, you know, I want to make it work this time. I want to give it a massive shot at, you know, becoming someone and something. Like you said, I was releasing music so consistently, and I was so good on being on top of like the music aspect of my socials. And because I was away for so long, obviously it was 6 months, and because I didn't have anything
Hmm.
content music wise, everything went really quiet. And then I panicked when I come back, and I was like, oh, people probably think like I'm not doing it anymore, or like they're wondering where the hell I am. And I did worry like about jumping back into it. Are people going to still take me seriously? Am I still going to have that support? And what do you know? The likes of you and amazing other podcasts and radio stations, they all welcomed me with open arms and was like, we're so
Hmm.
glad, you know, you're back releasing music. And tell me, I've got a load of songs ready to release now. So
Nice. That's really cool. So how long were you doing the cruise ship thing in Spain? Was that I'm assuming that was probably like a 6 month contract.
yeah, so it was actually so it was between the cruise ship or the Spain job. The Spain one was actually like a set. It wasn't actually on a cruise. It was in a place
Okay.
called Salou. But yeah, that was a 6 month contract. But I came back a month early purely because of my pregnancy, and I
Mm.
needed to, you know, go to checkups and things like that. And it was obviously really hard being in Spain. But yeah, I did that. That was a 6 month contract, but I did it for 5 months. It was brilliant. It was an amazing experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Mhm.
And it was something I'd never done before. So yeah, definitely like a once in a lifetime experience.
For sure. You know, it's one of those deals where it's like not very many people or not very many musicians can say they were able to do something like that. You know, just kind of, yes, I understand it's a more of a tribute act and you're not doing your own music,
Mm,
but at the end of the day, it's an experience that not everybody's going to get. You're playing in front of different crowds every night, and I'm assuming probably pretty decent sized crowds at that
yeah.
aspect, and you're not having to wear your body down doing the grind of a tour.
Exactly. I thought it was a great way to also show like I can like be away from home.
Hmm.
So like obviously there was talks when I was with my management about a tour. Unfortunately, under the circumstances, obviously nothing went ahead.
Hmm.
But it's a great thing to almost put on my like singing application. Like, you know, I did 5 months in Spain. I can go out and do it. And to yeah, like you said, like it's a completely different type of performing. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I do want to make a little side note. I saw you taking a drink out of a Stanley cup there. I'm
Yes.
glad the Stanley craze made it all the way to the UK.
Of course. We're all obsessed over here.
That's funny. That was an interesting time in history, human history, because it's like Stanley is one of them brands that have been around forever. Like my grandpa used like all Stanley products when he would like take lunch to work, working in the steel
Yeah.
mills and stuff. And if he was alive, he'd be like, "Really? Like
It's
now?"
crazy how things come back around again, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, um, so no, that's really cool. And so, how long have you been back home now?
So I've been back home since the start of September.
Okay.
So yeah, a couple of months. Well, I say a couple of months. It's obviously been longer than that. It feels like I've not been home that long though. But right now, I feel like the days all blend into one at the minute.
Fair, very fair. And then when you got back home, that's when you kind of started deciding to record new music, or were you writing through the entire time you were like in Spain and doing all that stuff?
So I was still writing whilst I was out in Spain. Do you know, funnily enough though, for being in a whole other country and all these experiences, I actually almost lost a bit of songwriting experience, like songwriting inspiration.
Mm.
And the juices kind of went dry, and I didn't write. I wasn't writing as much as I was when I was at home. But previous to going out there, so I want to say like February, March time, I had actually already written about 5 songs, and I had one of them in mind, which was Open, that I wanted to release. And I went to one of my friends who helps me with my music, David Hunt, and he put some music to it, and it actually started off as a ballad, a piano ballad. And then I went to Spain and, kind of forgot about it. Like, I love the song, but, obviously I couldn't release it while I'm away. And then I come back home and I was like, I spoke to my parents. Obviously, we're doing this by ourselves now, no management. And was like, we just need to release another song. And I had that song Open. And I was like, I really want to release Open. Like,
Hmm.
it's a brilliant track. So I said to David, look, you got to turn it country for me. Like, chuck some strings in there. And, he did, and it was just absolutely brilliant. Got it produced, recorded literally within a month of me saying that I wanted it done, and then it was just a waiting game to release it.
Hmm.
And yeah, then Open was born, and I'm so happy with how it's turned out and how the production's been about it, and just how it sounds. I just feel like as an artist, I always am trying to beat my previous song, and I
Hmm.
feel like ever since I saw Red, I have actually struggled with song inspo because I
Hmm.
saw Red, the words and the lyrics were so good and, so cheeky and clever. I'm like, how do I beat that again? And Open, I think, although I loved breakups, Open, I think, is the one that kind of has taken the reins again. And fingers
Hmm.
crossed, I just keep going up from there, really.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you this question and then I'll follow it up with why I'm asking this question.
Of course.
Did you take anything, like learn any lessons, like take any production inspiration away from while you were doing your time out in Spain singing and performing, doing like the tribute music? Was there any like lessons you learned about music doing all that?
I'd definitely say lessons I learned about music while being out there doing tribute acts.
That was a very poorly worded question, but it was the only way I could get it out. So,
Yeah, no, no, don't worry about that. My brain will work. I'd definitely say so. When I was doing the Miley Cyrus tribute act,
hmm.
that was probably the closest to my genre, as
Hmm.
obviously Miley has released country and like her dad and everything. So
Hmm.
and like, obviously Dolly Parton is like really close family friends. So that was the closest I probably got. I did do a country girl act as well, but tribute wise, that was the
Hmm.
closest I got. I'd actually say her songs probably had inspired me the most to continue writing songs,
Okay.
because of her lyrics. And I think unless you actually proper listen to her lyrics, she's very underestimated as a songwriter. I
Hmm.
must say. I mean, she's a brilliant vocalist. Don't get me wrong, and she's an amazing performer. She puts on one hell of a show, but very underrated as a lyricist.
Gotcha.
And I guess another lesson that I would have learned is going from performing every single night,
Hmm.
which I loved, like absolutely loved. Obviously, there's a few times where maybe my voice wasn't up to scratch because I'm doing it so much. But going from performing every night to then coming home and not performing every night, definitely need to carry on using my vocal cords and warming them up because it is a muscle. And
Hmm.
I remember when I got back in the studio for Open and I was like, why can't I sing this? I've just been belting out Becky Hill and dancing on stage at the same time as singing and
Hmm.
doing full on routines, and now I can't even sing a song that I've written.
Hmm.
And it was because, I'd been singing so much out there, using it every day. I've come home, not used it for like a month or two, and my voice is like, you're trying to use me and I can't do it. So definitely keep on top of it. And, just if I'm sat at home, keep on singing and warming up and doing singing videos for online because it's worth it.
Hmm. 100%. And the reason I asked that question is because listening to, say, breakups and I Saw Red and then
Yeah.
comparing it to Open's production quality, just it feels like a song that you want to hear at a big arena show. Not that your other music wasn't good,
Yeah.
but just listening to this song, like I was listening to it this morning before you jumped on, and I was just like, it popped into my head. I was like, okay, this is a song that you can hear on the radio and it feels like it belongs there. And it doesn't feel like an independent song. It feels like it was produced by a multi-million dollar, conglomerate record label deal, that whole deal. And then it just felt like a song that you want to hear played at the Grammys or played at an arena. It just feels like a song that can do that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I actually, like, without sounding cocky or big-headed, I
Yeah.
actually agree. Um, for the point of, I saw Red and my previous songs, I feel of a very teenage, angsty,
Hmm.
I was kind of writing quite aggressive songs.
Yeah.
And my production was completely different. I wasn't involved, like, without trying to talk bad about my previous
Hmm.
management, I wasn't involved much
Hmm.
in, and I didn't have much of a say in my music. I wrote the lyrics, I said what I wanted, and my music producer, he lived in Russia. So
Hmm.
I never got to see him face to face and, talk music with him, or really over the phone either, or on Zoom. So it was a completely way of doing music, different way, sorry, of doing music.
Hmm.
Whereas now with Open, I've got a music producer who literally lives 40 minutes away from me, and a music composer who lives 40 minutes away from me. And I go to them and we all sit together in the studio and we talk things out together and how we want the production to sound. And they nail it every time. They've just nailed it. And I feel like Open is a more mature song, like you say, and sounds more like it could be from someone like Miley Cyrus singing it or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 And for me, I think it's more like with the production end of things, I think it's hitting because my co-host and business partner, we went on an 8-hour road trip and we were talking about like music production and how to get like this big full sound. And I feel like that's what this song has, is it has that big full sound where a lot of independent musicians, and hats off to them, and I love this, where they're worried about how they can kind of recreate the song live and just kind of worried about the live aspect, which is 100% what independent musicians need to be worried about, because not gonna lie, I don't want to go to a show where I got to listen to a backing track like that. That's just kind of the end. That's just kind of my feeling on it.
Yeah.
But with you and Open, it just feels fuller. Like it just like that feeling is there. Like not even talking about the subject matter in which the song is about, just like the music in itself just
Yeah,
feels
like
full.
listening to it.
Yeah, it's a pleasant listening experience.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So speaking of Open, it's been out now for what, just about a month or not quite yet?
Not quite yet. Nearly a month, I think. Yeah.
How's it feel to have the first song out in almost a year and a half?
I think it just feels amazing, and I just feel so happy that I'm, releasing music again, and really happy as well that just because I am expecting, it's not changed anything. I've not. I've not stopped doing music, and like I've said, I've got a brilliant support system who've continued to help me. But now that one's out, I'm just like, well, now I want to release another, and now I want to release another. So now I just want to be back on that consistent, constantly writing and moving on to bigger things, and just pushing and pushing and pushing for more. That's what it feels like now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And do you have the like next one in mind already, or are you kind of like, let's wait until the birth is taken care of and that's all finished, and then we'll kind of.
So obviously, like I said, I've got 2 weeks till little one makes an appearance. Fingers crossed. And I've already got a catalogue of songs. Like when I say catalogue, I've got about 18 songs written and with music to them, which is brilliant because I've had them sat in my phone for ages and I just didn't know how to put the music to them because unfortunately I don't play an instrument. So that's where my amazing pals and music buddies come in, and I was actually round his yesterday to finish off a few more, finalize some, and we are going to release an album by hopefully, fingers crossed, June this year,
Yeah.
of about 13 songs, which is just amazing to me because I've gone from releasing like singles. I've got about 8 singles out now, to then releasing a whole album, which is 13 of my songs. Like that is just insane to me. So that is my next step. And I'm not even going to say fingers crossed because I know I'm going to do it this year. It's not an option. You know, obviously I'm going to have baby, but the good thing is I've written the songs. We've got the music to them. I literally just need to get into the studio and get them recorded properly. And then, yeah, we'll get them out on a track and get them out for June time for an album. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, before the album, because obviously the album I've said is due around June. Obviously, we're in February. That's still a couple of months. I don't want
Yeah.
to lose any traction while we got it going.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to use one of the songs from my album and release it as a single first
Nice.
in about, I'd say, April. Yeah, April time. And then release the album with a load of other songs for June to keep everybody happy and keep everybody on the Olivia Lynn train, hopefully.
Right. I feel that, and that's kind of smart, especially I think this music, the modern music industry is really hard to kind of read what works and what doesn't. Like, obviously, everyone says, oh, singles, because Spotify, that's what Spotify requires. But realistically, if you can't put out singles every 6 weeks,
Exactly.
you're just as good to put out a full body of work than a single,
Sorry, bless you.
Oh, you're good. Because it's like the way the industry is right now and the way Spotify kind of works is it's like it feeds off that frequency. And so if, like, let's say you put out this single and then waited another 6 months before you put something else out, or 9 months, you might as well just wait and put out the full album. Like, just
Exactly.
so I think you're smart putting out another single, maybe, honestly, maybe even two before the album comes out.
That's
So,
what me and my mum were debating. We could squeeze in two. So
so, so kind of looking towards that. Obviously, you said you got about 2 weeks left. Are you playing Are you playing shows all the way up till you give birth, or are you kind of slowing down right now?
So I've slowed down at the minute, definitely. I think my last gig was December. My last like big gig was December. I did a big Christmas one, which was just a brilliant and positive way to not end gigging, because obviously I'm getting back to gigging, but for the year. And then I've taken the first 2 months of this year and obviously the next 2 weeks just to chill and almost work on the behind the scenes of the music more so. But that said, I am literally jumping back into gigging. I think my first gig is, I want to say, April. Oh, April, yeah. My
Okay.
first gig is literally April. So my due date is the 1st of March. So yeah,
Mm.
a month after my due date, I've got my first gig. So
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to get back to gigging. Especially in like the local music venues around by me as well. I've missed them so much, and like I said, I'm just so happy that they've taken me back again, and you know, have said come back and sing. So
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those deals where it's like, honestly, the fact that you're giving yourself a month is amazing because I know I've seen a lot of musicians that they'll give birth and then like 2 weeks later they're not even like fully healed and all that stuff yet, and they're back out there like singing and performing, and I'm like, oof, that's a tough nut to crack right there. So
yeah, honestly, tell me about it. Fingers crossed,
right.
I'll be okay.
Nice. So when you do kind of get back in the springtime, are you playing mainly festivals? Or are you playing around town, or where? What do you kind of got on the books?
So I actually think my first gig back is a private function,
Hmm.
and then my second gig back, which is also in April, is actually I'm a supporting act for another local artist around by my area, called Joe Bygraves. He has been singing and songwriting for ages, and I actually supported him back in 2023,
Hmm.
and it was at a venue called Bedford Esquires, which is quite a big venue round by us. It's a big music venue, and they support local artists.
Hmm.
And it normally gets packed in there. So at the minute, that is the one that I'm most looking forward to locally, because although it's a local gig, it's like quite a big local gig.
Hmm.
So I'm so excited to, you know, be supporting, and he's like, do your own music, promote your own music. He's brilliant. So I'm gonna have fingers crossed, two of my new songs, like, and I'm gonna basically like promo them at the
Hmm.
show, which I think is a great idea to, you know, promote for the release of an album. And also, I'm having a full band for that as well, which I am so
Nice.
excited about because previously I obviously started with backing tracks, and then I had a guitarist, and it was me and a
Hmm.
guitarist doing gigs. And my next step was like, right, I need a band, like I need a full band.
Yeah.
And you know, this year my mum, she's been amazing. She's literally like a mummager, and she's sorted it out. And she's got me two guitarists, a drummer, and keys, and they're going
Hmm.
to be supporting me at this Bedford gig. So that's
Nice.
super exciting. And then I've actually got a country festival in Yorkshire, which is I was about to tell you how far away that is from me, but I'm terrible at maths. I want to say it's a. I'm not even going to attempt it. No, I'm not going to
Okay.
attempt it. I'm
Fair
not
enough.
because it's going to make me look so stupid. But it's quite far from me.
Hmm.
Couple of hours drive, I'm going to say. But I'm really excited for that one because I did that also previously in 2023.
Hmm.
And it's a big festival. And they do actually, it's not even country. They do a load of different genres.
Hmm.
But they do like folk, rock, like pop, everything. And yeah, I was like, can I come back again as a country artist? And they were like, yeah. And you know, now I've got a full band for that as well, so they're like really happy because last time I was there I only had a guitarist, so it's a big change for them as well. But definitely got quite a lot of stuff coming up this year, which I'm so happy about. I'm so super excited to be performing again. And my mum, she's been putting like posts out and putting the feels out, like, you know, I'm back and I'm gonna have like a band and a full album. So anyone who you know, more like country brunches and country festivals, basically tap me up.
Hmm. Right. For sure. You know, it's so interesting when you kind of think of the grand scale and the bigger picture of everything. Like for an independent artist, taking a year and a half off is like they've been gone for an eternity. But you get somebody like Beyonce or Ed Sheeran or somebody, they take like a 3 year hiatus, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, and
Yeah.
like nobody bats an eye at it. And
Oh
so,
no,
yeah. So
it is
it,
crazy.
it is. But then again, I mean, I guess you look at the table and it's like for an independent artist, like a year and a half is a big deal. Like that's that's kind of a difference maker. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back releasing music and you're doing your thing. And the fact that you because there was a period there where I wasn't sure where you had went because you weren't popping up on my Instagram feed as frequently, and it was just kind of like, huh, okay. And then, but knowing that you were still doing music, but you were doing it in a different capacity and just kind of, I don't want to say pursuing a passion, but taking an experience that's going to serve you for the long term and doing something for yourself and just kind of getting yourself into a different position, and like I don't mean that in like a negative way or a bad way,
No,
but
no,
just
yeah.
kind of like I'm sure the time in Spain and stuff like that was bit more financially rewarding than your independent career.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It was, like you said, completely different. I was doing it. Don't get me wrong, I'm doing this for me as well, but it was
Yeah.
something different to do for me. It was like a different experience, and yeah, financially it was completely different as well. So
Right. And so while you were out there, I'm guessing you were still singing in like English and whatnot. You weren't having to try to learn music in, I guess, Spanish, right? Yeah.
yeah, no, luckily I was still singing in English. I don't think I would have got the job otherwise.
Fair, fair, fair. Because in my head, I was sitting there, I was like, man, Spain. But then again, I guess like when you go on tour, other places you're singing in English regardless. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why that popped into my head, but it did. So there we sit. Um, so kind of looking forward with you and your music, you've got the album in the works. It'll be out this summer. What's that kind of process been like? Obviously, you'd mentioned this is your first time putting out a full project. When did you kind of make that decision to like, hey, I'm ready to put out like a full project versus just kind of putting out singles?
I'd say after we released Open, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
me and my parents kind of sat down and was like, right, what's the next steps in moving forward? And like you said, I could continue to release singles,
Mm-hmm.
but I, I think people want more and people want to see more. And I think it just sounds even brilliant to say, I've got an album out there. And also, it's better for gigs and promoting yourself. If I've got a full album and that's like 45 minutes long,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole set list there for me, ready for gigs and things like that. So we were like, what's something that we can do that's a bit different, and we had spoke about releasing an album previously when I was with my management, and then we was like, do you know what, they asked me, Liv, do you have the songs? Do you have, how many songs have you got written? I was like, look, I've got about like 18 songs written. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can do it. Like, and we was like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. And honestly, I cannot wait. I am so excited. We was talking yesterday about like album cover and album cover, like the name of the album and stuff like that, which we're still finalizing, but I can't wait to start promoting and like teasing about the album and things like that. So yeah, honestly, I'm so excited for it this year, and the fact that it's coming out in summer as well, when everyone's going to be at these country festivals and in their garden in the sun having fun, and I just think it's going to be brilliant.
Nice. I'll dig it. And it's summertime's a good time. Like, I mean, any time of year is a good time to release music, but especially like kind of I don't want to say rebirthing yourself as a musician, but just kind of reintroducing yourself as a
Yeah,
musician and just kind of like, this is a newer sound, this is a different feel, but also the fact that you're kind of stepping out and releasing a fuller project, like everything about your music and what you're doing is different. So just kind of the fact that you're taking the summer and just like, here it is. Let's see what happens.
exactly right. That's my view on it as well. So I completely agree.
Yeah. So what festivals are you playing this year? Have you announced any of that stuff yet, or what does your show schedule look like this summer?
So I'm pretty sure I've announced. two festivals, I think.
Hmm.
One of them being called the Longest Day Festival,
Hmm.
which is the Yorkshire one. And then I cannot actually for the life of me remember what the other one's called because I'm pretty sure Mum has just been finalising that one.
Hmm.
But I'm hoping to be at a few more. I've contacted a few venues and festivals that I performed for in 2023 to
Hmm.
basically say, like, hey, I'm back. Like,
Yeah.
and I've got all this new music. If you want to support local artists again, so fingers crossed I can get back on that boat again and hop on a few of those because I performed at some amazing country festivals in 2023, and I feel like I've matured as an artist. So it's going to be even better if I perform them this year.
Hmm.
But yeah, my show schedule so far is pretty neat, pretty nice, not too busy at all.
Yeah.
I could definitely take on like a load more.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being eager, but yeah,
Hey, well, I mean, that's fair though. Like you'll wanna as especially as you kind of get closer to the release of this project and like
yeah,
you realize like, oh, I probably need to be playing a lot more shows, you know.
exactly,
And if you wait too long, it'll be like, oh dang, everything's booked up. What do I do? You know. So
exactly right.
yeah, I'm still waiting for that time or for. Not, I don't want to say my opportunity because the opportunity is always there, but I'm waiting. I'm still trying to figure out the move to get out to the UK. Like
Yes,
I think now we kind of have the vehicle to do it and make it like really worthwhile. I've just got to talk to my co-host and be like, "Hey, so you want to go to the UK?" You know,
just drop it in there, see what he says.
right, right, right. See, but like the difference is we're about 10 years apart. He's about 10 years older than I am, and he's got a whole litter of kids.
Oh
And
wow, okay.
so it's just kind of like, man, I think I could probably pull off a week where if I go, hey, man, we're going to the UK for a week, I think he'd be okay and his wife would be okay. Because like they have he has his mother-in-law living with him as well. So it's like,
Oh wow.
it's not just the kids, but, you know, honestly, we're doing this live podcast thing in front of like where we showcase like singer songwriters and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's like that's the move. Like if we want to make it like not that we don't already have a reason, but like, hey, we're gonna go over there and we're gonna do a whole run of shows or a whole run of showcases. That's really cool. So we'll see.
Exactly. Oh, 100%. I think fingers crossed, Tom, if you get the opportunity, just take it.
Right. Well, it's kind of getting to the point now where I might just buy a plane ticket for a random date. You know, it's I found this website that you just tell them where you want to go and it'll tell you the cheapest date to do it and the cheapest date to return. So it'll kind of just because it originally started as, hey, hey, I want to take a trip on this date. I don't really care where to, and it'll just give you the cheapest airfare to
Oh, okay.
wherever. And then I started to realize, well, you could reverse that. You could tell it, hey, I want to go here, and it'll tell you the cheapest date to do it.
Yeah,
So
100%.
it's like if I can get over to the UK and spend like even if it's like 2 or 3 days, but it only costs me $700 instead of like 1,000 or $2,000. You know,
Right.
so we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Right, right, right. But then that means I got to fly into London, and everybody that I know, they don't live anywhere near London. So
Oh no.
it's like, dang it. Okay. So then I got to either figure out how to go down to the South Coast or go up to Liverpool or, anywhere else in
Get to
between.
all
And it's
these
just,
places. Yeah.
right. And it's like, I mean, I guess I could theoretically fly into like Liverpool or is there an airport south somewhere? South?
Um, Honestly, I'm probably the worst person to
Okay.
ask.
Fair. Hey, at least you're self-aware, right? At
Exactly.
least,
At least I know.
yeah. But yeah, so that is kind of something I'm planning on doing. I've the um, the podcast has been a really good outlet for that, and just kind of like, hey, when I
Good.
do finally make the trip, it's like I've got enough context to be like, hey, I'm somewhere in town. I don't know where though, but
I don't know where I am, but come see me.
yeah. Right.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So, kind of looking forward, I don't want to take too much more of your time because I know it's what, like mid-afternoon out there, or
Yeah, it's 1:40 here.
whew, that time difference that'll get you.
What's it for you?
7:40 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
I literally rolled out of bed 15 minutes before this interview.
I literally did the same as well and slapped on a bit of makeup. So
Fair. I was sitting there. I was like, last night I was going to bed and I was just like, all right, let's set this alarm for 6. No, that's too early. 6:15, maybe. And then I just set it for like 6:30, and then I set an emergency alarm for 6:45, and I was like, okay, that'll work. And
you literally sound like me, and that's bad because you're having to wake up early, and mine was at 1, so that's awful on my
it,
part.
it happens. Well, I mean, my sleep schedule this past weekend, for whatever reason, I've been dealing with allergies the last couple days, and so
So have I. That's why I'm sniffling so much today as well.
right, and so my sleep schedule is like super messed up because I don't usually take like naps or anything. And so Saturday, I took like 3 2-hour naps. Like I woke up at 7 a.m., just kind of rolled out of bed, and I'm like, oh boy, okay, this is how we're going to start this Saturday, up at 7 a.m. And then I think I had like a podcast or something at 10. I did the podcast, I laid down, I slept until like 1. And then I got up and I was like, okay, let's go eat because I hadn't eaten anything yet at that point. And then I fell back asleep after I ate for another 2 hours. And then I woke up and I'm like, oh, I need to go eat. I'm hungry. Like, and then I fell asleep again. And then I woke up and it was like 8 o'clock. And I'm like, well, should I just go to bed at this point?
Yeah.
Or should I,
What do I do at this point?
right? Because I've already slept like another extra 4 hours or 6 hours. And then I stayed up till 2 a.m. And then
Oh,
went to bed, and it was just like, okay, now my sleep schedule's all screwed up and I don't know what to do with myself. So,
oh, that's brilliant.
but this podcast was able to get me back on because it forced me to be up at a certain time. So,
That's good then. I mean, there you go. It's forcing you to be in I say some sort of routine, but
right, right. But if anybody wants to check out your music, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
best place to find me is well, I'm on all music platforms, so streaming platforms: Amazon, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, all under Olivia Lynn for my music. And my socials are all under Olivia Lynn Official. So that's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, and X, as we now call it, is under Olivia Lynn Official.
I'm waiting for the day it gets turned back to Twitter, but
I know, here's to hoping.
right? Because just the letter X sounds weird. It feels
Yeah,
weird. It doesn't feel right. But
I don't like it personally, but
yeah, fair. But once again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute blast catching up.
no, thank you so much for having me again, Tom. I massively appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Live and Amplified's Indie Fusion podcast. If you'd like to support anything Live and Amplified does, please follow us on all of our social media platforms at Live, the letter N, Amplified. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, any of them, all of them, at Live, the letter N, Amplified. And if you would like to buy any official Live and Amplified merch, you can do so at our merch shop, link in the description below. Once again, thank you all. Have a great day.